now.
Welcome everybody to round 2 of the Trackstars Touring Car Series TS2, where we are bringing you live to the Red Bull Ring in Austria for the Styrian Grand Prix, or the Styrian Sprint I should say, 3 races consisting on 9 lap racing. We'll be racing for 9 laps and then a couple of minute break before we kick off for a 9 lapper before another 9 lapper. So I don't know, Jarman, do you think these guys can handle the pressure for 9 laps in 3 races?
Yeah, I think on a normal night they'd definitely do it, but of course we've got the extra element of rain tonight, so that might prove a bit tricky for some of these drivers tonight.
So we are racing at the beautiful Red Bull Ring in Austria, formerly known as the A1 Ring, from 1997 all the way up to 2003, before it was purchased by Red Bull in 1 year after it closed down in 2004, and it was reopened once again in 2011, where we actually saw some DTM cars putting on some exhibition races, and before we saw the historic return of Formula One racing in 2014. And it's got quite a few memories there from where we go up to turn 2 or turn 3, as we like to call it, up the top of the hill, where we had that famous incident between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see quite a fair bit of that, maybe in our series. Do you think? Hopefully not.
Oh, it's definitely possible as some drivers get a good draft or a good run out of turn 1 and they'll look to line themselves up, so whether you go the outside or the inside, there's very much the danger that you can outbrake yourself and cut the driver you're trying to pass off the track as well.
Too true. And the track length is about 4.3 kilometers, where there are 10 turns if you count the little kinks before the real turn 2 and the little kink before, I believe it's before turn 5. So I'm pretty sure there's a few little cheats there, being few statistics there, just saying it's 10 corners, but some say it's 8. We'll never know. So anywhere between 8 and 10 corners sounds alright for me. Whereas going in a clockwise direction, where the fastest ever lap time was recorded in a Formula One car with Valtteri Bottas in 2020, getting himself 63-second lap time. So I don't know if we'll be getting lap times in our TS2 cars.
No, I think we'll be looking more towards the 1 minute 40 mark for these guys tonight.
Exactly right, but plenty of downforce on these cars. As we see, it is raining outside and it is quite heavy, so I'm seeing a lot of wet tyres for these drivers and getting themselves accustomed to the laps. And I think one driver that is very well accustomed to these conditions is Little Blacko, our series leader after round 1 at the Dragon Trail Seaside Croatian Grand Prix. So, and he actually won the one and only race that was in the wet last year, 2020, at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. So he might prove himself to be a wet weather master in the less powered touring cars.
Yeah, it was a very impressive performance at Spa last year in the main series of the touring cars, and it'll be one that Little Blacko will certainly be looking to replicate this year.
So as we start to get ourselves closely ready to start this qualifying, we have Little Blacko, who took out a clean sweep of victories in TS2 last time out at Dragon Trail Seaside, followed by D Huso and Ando 787 tied for second. But unfortunately for D Huso 14 and the CP Motorsport family, he won't be running tonight, unfortunately. So it looks like Ando 787, who is here with us, will possibly take over second position.
Yeah.
We're followed behind by Coming For You, who again also isn't going to be able to make it tonight. So there's definitely quite a few drivers that haven't been able to make it tonight. It's a lot of family issues, or a lot of family things going on, people getting sick. We've been talking through the Discord trying to get everything ready, and well, some of our key drivers just can't make it, unfortunately, which is a big shame. But you did mention to me earlier that there are drop rounds to play.
Yeah, of course, we know that drivers can't make every single round, so of course drop rounds come into play a bit. We have the first 17 rounds. After that we'll drop 3 of the worst rounds from each driver at that point after the Bathurst event, and then we'll continue on for the final 5 rounds. So it gives a chance for all the drivers to sort of have an off week or maybe have a bad round themselves or even miss one or two due to other commitments and still be a contender.
And it is a really hard thing for everyone to try to commit every Sunday night for racing on a league series. So you definitely see some leagues around Australia and even around the world where you don't really get the same drivers once every weekend because they've always got some family things on or things on in their life. But you know, when we do have them on board, it is always a privilege, and we can get new drivers joining in our series. One of them is going to be a debutant, which is Chef Toad from New Zealand in his striking number 12 livery that it has basically his hometown in Auckland, New Zealand. So he's got the silver fern on the side, or black fern on the side of his car. So he'll be doing New Zealand Crown alongside with Ruckworth in his Lexus. So 2 Kiwis and a Belgium in our series. So our series is expanding all around the globe, isn't it? Slowly.
Yeah, it's slowly expanding, and obviously the success of the endurance series we had last week has contributed to that a little bit. And then, yeah, of course, New Zealand, our close neighbours, with Australia where a majority of our drivers come for. Maybe the Kiwis will continue some of the form we see from the likes of Van Gisbergen and co in the wet weather races too.
Not wrong there, and as we're talking about Van Gisbergen, he's done a clean sweep of the Bathurst 500 just recently, so he's definitely some motivation for the Kiwis, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely right.
So as we start to finalise the grid, we have 15 of the 16 drivers with us tonight as qualifying begins to commence. Jarman, who could we be looking for? We'll be looking at a Little Blacko front row, or Ando 787, or even Diswood 1, who's actually making a guest appearance in TS2.
Yeah, it's definitely between those three, I'd say. You probably can't go past Little Blacko as your favourite, but I think Diswood is more than capable of putting in a good performance, as is Ando as well.
So it'll only be the master of the wet weather range who gets pole position. So we don't know much about all these drivers and their wet weather running, but we will find them out very shortly as we start to commence qualifying with Little Blacko and a 787 and the sole Toll Mash Bus Racing driver Solo 96 representing that team loud and proud, because unfortunately for JMX and coming for you, they've had other commitments. One of them is sick and the other one has to do some exams. So unfortunately for my guys, they can't make the race, but you know, at least we have one car on the grid. So fingers crossed for Xylon 96 to get himself high up on the grid.
Yeah, he'll definitely have a little bit of pressure on as a sole representative, so, and especially with that number 32 that the defending champion carried last year, certainly big shoes to fill.
Absolutely, he's done a lot of running over the week, and just getting his car set up. And all I had to do was just make sure he get a little bit of pep talk and just a little bit of just calming him down, because it is wet weather and all these drivers are finding it a little bit tricky, because I see a lot of drivers using that traction control very wisely. So I think that's going to be a really key thing for beginners or people that are not used to wet weather running. That just that traction control they just need just to keep that car pointing straight.
Yes, especially, well, if you have it turned off, you can very easily find yourself sideways, and I'm sure we're going to see a little bit of sideways action here from a number of drivers, as Rugworth runs a bit wide there coming out of the last corner. Might affect his start of the lap.
Exactly, and as Rugworth comes up towards the hill, it is the 216.9 kilometres uphill before we get into turn 1. Just trying to make sure you clip that inside corner before you hit the ripple strip on the outside. He's taking a little bit too much, so I'm not so sure if that's a penalty. Corner track extending penalty, but we'll see how we go. As he plucks through the gears, 5th gear, finding that traction in his TS2 car. Coming up to 6th gear, going to be for an early braking before we get into turn 2, or what we like to call the turn 2, the fake turn 2. So it's basically in theory it's turn 3, but we'll just call it turn 2 for now. But struggling to get that traction now, just look at that throttle percent. It's just, the tyres just weird. It's just so hard.
Yeah, that's right, and it's really tough as he enters into turn 3. This one's really tough to get right. If you outbrake yourself a little bit, you find yourself in the gravel and building sandcastles instead of setting quick lap times. As he kicks out a bit there, and on that exit of turn 3 as well, which is really easy. There's not much grip through there I've found during testing.
Yeah, and it's just basically it's going past the curbing, like onto the green AstroTurf. That's where the car gets really slippery because you take a little bit of that, and yeah, you're pretty much gone. So the next corner, you're gonna have no hope of braking for that corner. But as Ruckworth is coming up to the final double right-handed to what that is turn 9 and turn 10, is he's gonna get that car stick and not run out too wide. He always just maybe got away with it. But has to brake nice and early for turn 10. Don't hit that outside curbing, and as he crosses the line, he's going to get himself possibly a 141 after this. Yes, he does. It is a 141.2 with Little Blacko right behind him in a very striking livery compared to what he had last time. A little bit of a mint, bit of a fluoro green and fluoro yellow. It's a nice combination with that. So obviously, Little Blacko is known for his livery designs, and that's come out very striking as Ando 787 scored 1.2 clear on Little Blacko. So the guys who were talking about Ando, Little Blacko, and this Wood up there in the top 4 already.
Yeah, of course, we can't forget Ruckworth, who has put himself in there nicely as Dano goes up to 3rd place as well.
Oh, Dano's coming up to 3rd, and as we were talking through the Discord, we do have a few drivers coming from the TS2 making their way up to the main series just as sub drivers. So Dano is one of them. He'll be driving for the missing SDRT Wazadon in the number 26, and he'll be teammates alongside Chef Toad, which is a friendly Kiwi. So an Aussie and a Kiwi, just kind of reminds you of just that Jamie Whincup and Shane Van Gisbergen partnering.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll be hoping for similar success as well, but it'll definitely be a tough ask making the step up. There's a lot of quality drivers to contend with.
Yeah, and to miss guys like Wiseacre and Wazadon is a big shame because they did show promising pace in the first round in the touring car series, but they just got caught out with safety cars and crashes here and there, just not picking up cars. A little bit hard done by them, and possibly the rain just didn't want to suit them, and they're having a break. But as Little Blacko gets 6.63 on Ando 787, so great showing from Little Blacko, just showing Ando to say, well, you've set the benchmark and I'm better at it for you. So Dano's still in 3rd. Kes Audio has moved up into 4th. As I say that, Dis Wood has moved up into 3rd. So times are going to be flying pretty quickly as he's going quickly in that Honda. So we've got ourselves 2 Nissans and a Honda right behind. So it's a great showing. But the first Lexus I did see I believe it wasn't Ruckworth in 4th place, was it? No. Well, Ruckworth is the sole Lexus in 7th place. So
Kes Audio's up in 7th.
Kes Audio 7, okay. Up in 3rd, my apologies. So Ruckworth is the only front-running driver up in 8th position, so it's a bit hard. It's a tough run for the Lexus after the first round of the Dragon Trail, and even now in round 2. So there's a Lexus. Do we think the Lexus might be an underdog, or do we think it could be could it be just a bit of a lack of experience for some drivers in the Lexus car?
It could be a bit of both, but yeah, I found the Lexus was quite easy to drive in the wet from last year's series, so maybe some drivers haven't quite got the setup nailed, but yeah, we'll see how we go in the race. But Zylan's up in 4th place himself, so...
Oh, Zylan's actually good spotting there. Didn't see that.
So he might represent the Lexus quite well there.
Exactly right. As he comes up towards that final ending, is Diswood on a lap? No, he's not. He's just backed off a little bit. Just pulling the car down and...
not having a good run here.
Dano's coming up towards the end of his lap. He might be able to get one more lap in as he gets towards that final right-hander. Dano 8 in his number 8 purple and white and black livery. Can he get himself up a little bit further up grid? No, he doesn't, as he runs a little bit wide. That's a bit of a shame, but he might be able to get one more lap in. No, I think that's the end of qualifying after that. So it looks like it is. It will be Little Blacko. Oh, Ando 787 is coming through. Is he going to get an improvement? No.
No, there's still 20 seconds on the clock, so I think all these guys are getting an extra lap here.
Oh, okay.
And there's no final lap marker too on the screen.
Yep, caught me out there. That's not wrong there. I only just saw, I thought I saw this little Blacko have hazard lights. Yeah, I did see hazard lights on Blacko. So that's why I thought it was the final.
I think he's aborted his lap.
Yeah, so little Blacko's not going anymore, but we have to keep our eye on Ando 787 and Diswood, who are possible contenders of toppling out little Blacko. But as Rugworth coming up towards the end of that second sector, oh, looks like Ando's got a little bit purple there. I believe I saw a little bit of purple marker there on Ando, so this is one to keep an eye on, ladies and gentlemen, with Diswood right behind him. So is Diswood on a flyer lap as well, or is he backed off as well? I'm not so sure, but we'll find out soon enough. Oh, as Ando's gone off and he's ruined his lap of what possibly could have been a little bit of a further progression up the grid onto pole position, but we have to keep an eye on Diswood, guys. Is he going to make sure? Is he going to get that? Is he going to get a personal best or a purple best on this lap? We'll have to find out and wait and see. He's getting a bit of a wiggle on. He's run a little bit wide there. Oh, he's gone. Well, he has gone personal best, but he just ran wide on that corner, so that's going to dirty his tyres up, and that all might cost him towards that back end of the grid of the lap. Sorry.
Yeah, as he comes through the final corners, he's got 5/10 on his previous best, so it could be close for a front row start, although that might put paid to that as he runs a little wide in the final corner. And there we go, he's got a penalty there as well, so that'll ruin that lap.
Yeah, it's just come to show both there towards the end. But it looked like, had he kept it, he would have been doing alright. As Cylon 96 goes second place, only 2/10 behind Little Blacko. Take a bow, Cylon 96 in the Toll Mash Buds Racing as Highlander crosses down the line in 10th, but wow, Jarman, where did that come from?
Yeah, that was a big surprise. We were too busy following Diswood and Nando that at the last minute we just see Xylon come through and park his Lexus on the front row.
Unbelievable for Cylon 96 who made his debut in the last round at Dragon Trail in the Group 2s. Was never really a big fan of Group 2 racing, but obviously he's found a bit of a comfort spot now that he's got a little bit familiar with tuning, and look where he is on the front row. So congratulations for the Toll Mash Buds Racing driver, but it is Little Blacko on pole position for the first race of this wet Styrian sprint for race 1 for Trackstars TS2 Touring Car Series. It is Little Blacko on the front row with a 1:38.5, followed by a stunning lap from Xylon with a 1:38.7 with Ando right behind him, Diswood and Robbo and Dano rounding up the top six. So it's all about the start, Jarman. Who's going to get that start? As we come up towards those lights, cars revving, traction control on. Lights out, green flag racing. Who's going to get that start between Little Blacko and Xylon? Looks like it is Little Blacko, and it's got a great start. He starts getting a little bit taily, and as Xylon 96 takes the lead for his first race in his second race in the TS2 series, keeping it off the curbs as we've got a Lexus Toll Mash Buds Racing up in front with Robbo Sport in second place and Little Blacko in third. Wow, what a chaotic start for Little Blacko. He's just having a bad start, initial phase of the race, and he just dropped himself back down to third with Ando 787. How is this pack coming up behind? Is there going to be any crashes or any mistakes? I hope not. Is there going to be any cars making any spins there? Oh, we just see Little Blacko. He has made an accident. He's spun his car, or someone may have got a helping hand as we catch a replay of that. But what a shocking start for Little Blacko, Jarman. Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, that is a red flag. I do apologise. I thought we would have had a race there, but obviously somebody jumped out at the last second there. So I wonder what that was, Jarman. I don't know if the microphone's turned off, but what happened there? Who jumped out?
Renegade stuck on the grid.
Oh, Renegade stuck on the grid. That is a big shame. Hopefully he has to get that formed out. But I was just making the call that what a great start for Xylon 96. So wow, he would be kicking himself with that red flag in the way. That's a very big shame. As we take a little bit of a break, ladies and gentlemen, we're just trying to fix out some little technical issues there with Renegade 4701, who couldn't get his car off the grid. So, I don't know, I need to recover my energy there, Jarman, because I was so pumped up for Xylon 96 getting a great start.
Yeah, it was a good start to the race. I'm not sure what's going on with Renegade though. He's sitting on the grid.
This is something we don't want to really see, ladies and gentlemen, where we just have a driver on the grid and just not making a move at all. I've just seen on the Discord as well that they've got some application errors as well. So I wonder if some drivers were telling me today that they may have been seeing some lobby glitches today, or at least since the last update that was on Wednesday. So I wonder if that's come into effect.
Yeah. I think we might
We'll
have to do something here that I don't really want to do.
Yep, so we will have to set the grid manually, ladies and gentlemen. So just stick tight for another couple of minutes and we will get the race underway very shortly. So as we get everyone back onto the track and onto the grid, I believe we're going to have 14 drivers because I don't think Renegade managed to get his game fixed up, and unfortunately there was a little bit of a kicking there. So we do apologise, Renegade, but you were holding up the lobby quite a fair bit. So unless otherwise we do this one race, and whether the host will do a new lobby, we'll see. But otherwise we might just run the same lobby the whole race. We'll find out. Waiting on Benjo GLR 19 to jump in the lobby. We'll get ourselves ready to take two for this restart for the Dragon Trail. Oh, sorry, not the Dragon Trail. Track Stars Touring Car Series TS2 at Red Bull Ring on a wet Red Bull Ring circuit. So once we get this, guys, and the lobby, I believe that'll be the last call, Jarman. So there's only one red flag, and after this red flag, yes, if you're stuck on the grid, I believe it's too late.
Yeah, you get one shot at, well, rectifying the issues. If it happens a second time, then the race carries on without that driver.
unfortunately, it'll be hard for drivers to feel that, you know, if they get a bit of disconnection issues, but they might be able to resurrect that if they come race 2 and race 3. So we'll have to find out. Get drivers in as we see. Yep, 14 drivers in the lobby. I would just kick it off right now, Jarman, wouldn't you?
Yep, that's what I'm planning to do.
I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. There's a little bit of a niggling issue, but we are finally underway for race 1, take 2 for the TS2 Touring Car Series, representing or sponsored by Elite Brake and Mechanical (EBM) down in South Melbourne. As we start to get ready for race 1, take 2, it is still Little Blacko on the pole position with Xylon 96 in second and Ando and Dishwood back in third and fourth. So this will have to be a second chance for Xylon 96 to get a great start over Little Blacko, and hopefully Little Blacko learn from his initial start. As we go 5 lights towards lights out, green flag racing. It is going to be Little Blacko that gets the start initially. He's actually bettered his start compared to that first take, so a little bit unfortunate for Xylon. As Dishwood as well gets a good run on Xylon 96. Oh, a little bit of pushing and shoving behind, but it is Little Blacko that is leading the way after that second restart. He's got himself a better start this time, and he's actually pulled himself a gap that Xylon had in that first race, but Xylon 96 is going to be pushing himself up into second place, just side by side with Dishwood 1. In the SLM Honda NSX, is Dishwood outbraking himself? Yes, he has. He's a little bit too wide. Don't run it onto the curbs too much. No wheel spin. Just be careful, Dishwood. That Honda is very slippery, but it still is Little Blacko leading the way in this shortened 8-lap race. Little Blacko ahead of Xylon 96 in the Lexus, followed by Robert Small Racing, a familiar name in the TS2 series, and Ando 77 makes a move on Dishwood very cleanly with Dano right behind, back in 6th, with Mickey's in 8th and in 7th, and Ruckworth down in 8th place. So bit of a frantic start there, but we've actually got it all running, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we're off to a reasonable start here. We did have one drop out. I think Benjo dropped out just before the start, so I'm not sure what happened there, but as Little Blacko pushes out in front, but we've got a good battle here for the final podium spots between Xylon, Ando and Dishwood.
Well, Zando's actually brought himself past Dishwood, so he's made up 2 positions back after that little poor start that he had, so he's up into 3rd place now. So great recovery there for Ando 787, with Dishwood just driving as a guest appearance, but he's just going to drive a really smooth, consistent race, getting himself ready before he jumps in the main series, Track Stars Touring Car Series, sponsored by Elite Brake and Mechanical. So it is still Little Blacko leading the way in the green and yellow fluorescent Robbo Sport Racing Nissan, followed by Xylon 96 and Ando 787 rounding up the top 3. Dishwood 1 in 4th place, and Dano, privateer driver, now driving under Shade On Racing, got main series up into 5th place, and Ruckworth has actually moved himself up into 6th place. So a great start by all, and kept their nose clean compared to the first race.
Yeah, certainly a much cleaner start this time around. Although it looks like, I'm going to say Little Blacko's made a mistake there, as he's dropped a full second on what he had at the end of the first lap.
Okay, so going down, we'll have to keep an eye on. Oh, as he starts drifting it through the corner, just taking it nice and easy. Get a catch a replay there of Little Blacko, but any Little Blacko fans, just take a picture right now. It is still Little Blacko leading the way ahead of Xylon. I see, as he goes, just starts to run a little bit wide there. Oh, that's a little bit of a hair in mouth there for Little Blacko, as he is also racing in the main series later on this evening. So definitely the laps is going to help him.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a good experience for him getting those laps in these races here, and maybe a bit of an advantage for guys like himself and Dishwood and of course Chef Toad and Dano as well.
Xylon 96 is definitely closing the gap, so those little mistakes on that lap from Little Black is really costing him. Xylon's just keeping that car nice and straight, driving his own race, and just trying his best to get close as he can, as he does set the fastest lap, follow eclipse by Ando 787. So 2 cars behind Little Blacko's got the pace, so long as Little Blacko doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, if he if Little Blacko can keep it clean for a few laps, I'm sure he'll extend that lead a little bit. Who's spun out there, I think? Diswood has spun out.
Diswood is spun out there. They could pick up there, so we might be able to catch a replay of that, I don't know. But it looks like he just had a bit of a spin out, maybe caught too much of the curve as he comes into turn 1. How did this happen? I would just wonder. Oh, just got himself on that yellow sausage, and it's just so unlucky for Diswood there. Just clipped that sausage curve, that yellow sausage curve, and just spun him out, and it's very slippery, and he's dropped him down into 8th place. So this is going to have to be this has to be a Diswood 1 style recovery drive up if he can get himself into 4th place.
Yeah, very much so. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes here, but I'm just going to jump back to the leaders because it looks like it's closed up a bit between the first 4 here.
Wow, this is absolutely amazing. Little Blacko just not feeling comfortable in that car in these first 3 laps, but Cylon and Ando just working together to get close to Little Blacko there, up in 1st place. So Ando and Cylon, if they play smart, they might be able to catch up to him, but he's just pulled a little bit of a gap there after that, after turn 7 and turn 8, so he's just got himself a bit of a gap between him and Cylon now. Cylon might be struggling a little bit, that's because Ando's right behind him. Can Ando get a good clean run out of his turn 10 and get himself into the lead, or into the 2nd place? It's at the end of turn 1. I don't think so. He's not going to be brave enough to send it deep, because sending it deep on the inside, I think we all have been there, it's a little bit slippery out there, don't you think?
Yeah, it definitely is, especially in this wet weather. It's going to be really tough to... Oh, there goes Ando!
As Ando's gone spinning out as well, so 2 main drivers, Ando and Diswood, as we catch a replay of that. I did see him go a little bit wide into turn 1, trying to get that wider line in. Yes, he did take that wider line in, so I wonder if that compromised him in a way. No, he didn't actually catch the curve, just too much throttle.
Yeah, I think too much throttle. There was that solid white line across that goes right across the track there. Maybe lost a bit of grip going across that.
I wonder if that was the case too, because he didn't seem like he was making a mistake at all. He's catching Xylon in that instance. But Diswood 1 has got himself back up into 4th place. So I did say a lap earlier, it has to be a Diswood 1 drive, and it certainly has been a Diswood 1 drive from 8th to 4th within a lap. So that's amazing. Because I did see Mick E's up in 4th, and he's now down into 8th, possibly 9th now, because Robbo as well. Jeez, there's a lot of changing with the leaders.
Yeah,
I can't even keep up.
It's definitely going to pay off for the drivers that are more consistent tonight, rather than being outright fast. If you can just keep it on the track, you might be able to pick up a good result here.
Absolutely. And basically, around this track, work was in place to bring development of just the safety features. Because down in 1995, the track played host to the German STW Cup for touring cars, but a crash permanently closed the track, and it was to improve safety features before any other car could hit the track. So I don't know about these guys. I'm not so sure if they read about playing it safe, because there's been a lot of incidents around.
Yeah, of course, though, playing on a video game, it's probably a lot less risk, though.
Exactly right. So Rugworth gets himself a little bit of a track limit penalty there, so we'll have to burn that soon. Cares Audio runs a bit wide there, so not a bad show for Cares Audio. Still running up in the top 5, and after his last race in track trail, being very consistent with his racing.
Yeah, he's definitely putting in some good performances
there.
there.
A bit of contact there. I do apologise to catch you up there, but Rugworth looks like he's gone a bit too deep. Yes, he has. A little bit unfortunate, but he did have dirty tyres, and he did run a bit wide, so of course it was going to happen very soon. Up the front still looks a little bit spread out between Little Blacko and Tyres. I think Little Blacko just got rid of those little niggling issues, little gremlins of just not having enough track time, and just put himself in a commanding lead over Silent. So just smooth running between those two, and hopefully no mistakes, and those two will either get 1 and 2 as they are, or maybe a reverse. We'll wait and see in 4 laps time.
There was a bit of a heart and mouth moment there for Mick EZ. He just got a bit wide there and out of shape, but looks like he's recovered it well, but he's going to have to fend off Dano here.
So drivers we're seeing, like Mick E's 1, 2, 3 was high as 4th, even Robbo Sport Racing was high as 3rd. It just shows that just even like after a couple of laps, one place you can be in 3rd position, and the next one you can be down in 10th, so anything can happen, I guess.
Yeah, again, it goes back to making sure you're consistent, hitting those marks, and not making any mistakes where you run off track or spin out in a very awkward position, because that can see you drop well down the order.
Not wrong there. So look back towards the grid. Is Robbo Sport has actually dropped down. So what has happened there? And it looks like somebody else has jumped out of the lobby. They're also having some little technical issues. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get it back in. But definitely Calypso, our Belgian driver, up in 11th place. So not a bad showing for Devlin. It's just to keep his nose steady and hope and not disconnecting. So just to get some points in, represent Team Belgium.
Yeah, certainly a solid drive there from Devlin, and I'm sure, well, he's one of our newer drivers to the series, so not quite got the pace there, but I'm sure over time he'll slowly pick it up.
Chef Toad as well, rounding up the top 10, so it is beginning, it is in early stages for Chef Toad, so he will be in the main series later on this evening, but it is still... Oh, actually, as I do cut back there, Jarman, Silence dropped down to 3rd, what happened there?
That's a good question. I think we've missed a replay though, so not much we can do about that one.
No, we missed a replay of Silent maybe having it off in one of the corners, and Ando's managed to catch back up. So a little bit unfortunate for Silent, because he was a comfortable 2nd position, just running with Little Blacko. But I think just a couple of mistakes here and there just ruined that consistency for him. So he'll just need to keep his eyes forward and just either consolidate 3rd or actually challenge Ando if Ando makes a mistake.
Yeah, he certainly still is in a good spot here, so not all is lost. And, well, if he keeps it off the curb and doesn't spin out, he'll definitely be on for a top 3, which is still solid effort.
It is a solid effort for his new season in the touring car series, as well as for other drivers as well. Ando 787 is making his debut in the TS2 series. Diswood 1, who was a main series driver, is making a guest appearance in the TS2. So it's kind of like the Luke Yildens and Chris Pithers, you know, jumping into the Super 2s in Australia, where they just make guest appearances or they just do season racing.
Yeah, of course, with the limited amount of numbers and so many drivers looking for a drive in the main series, it does leave a few of these guys on the outside looking in to a degree, but maybe some of the team managers are watching on tonight, and maybe they'll offer to promote some of these guys up in coming seasons.
Exactly right, and as we did see, Little Blacko will be called up into the number 3 position, replacing Farrell PS, our Indonesian driver, in the Robbo Sport entry. So he is getting himself some track time, as well as Diswood in 4th place. He'll be replacing B Papa 18 in the Big Motorsport in the Honda. So he's definitely getting some laps in that Honda before the main race in a couple of hours' time. The Highlanders actually moving himself up into 7th place, so not a bad recovery there for Highlanders. He's getting close to Mickey's, so there's going to be a bit of bravery between those guys. And Xylon's actually gone past Ando, so we just caught the back end of that. So great pass for Xylon 96 there as we catch towards a replay. I wonder what happened to Ando there. Oh, he looks like he's just spun out there. He did spin out, so he did have a comfortable gap on Xylon, but just a tiny little spin on the curbing there. Wow, this is like chopping and changing the orders. And I think Diswood 1 is not far behind. So any mistakes from those two, Diswood's going to get them.
Yeah, it's certainly shaping up to be a close race here, and I mean, there's a fight on for 2nd place, but yeah, if one of these guys makes a mistake, Diswood's going to be right there to pick up the pieces and grab a podium position after that earlier off.
100%, but it looks like Xylon 96, if he keeps his nose clean, he will keep 2nd place. But one guy that did keep his nose clean after a slow start in that first plagued race start was Little Blacko. So he's redeemed himself after a shocking start in that red flag race 1. He is now taking the Take 2 race 1 series. So executing these last couple of corners, the right hand side, not too much. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, Little Blacko. You've got yourself a great gap. And coming towards the final corner for Robbo Sport Racing, another victory goes to Little Blacko in the wet for the series sprint. It is Little Blacko for Robbo Sport Racing taking out the victory with Xylon 96. Can he hold off Ando 787? Can he keep it off the curbs? As Ando goes a little bit deep there, it's going to go side by side towards the end. Oh, it's going to be a little bit close, and Ando's right behind him. And Xylon takes 2nd place and take about Cylon 96 and Ando, a great showing between you two, with Dishwood claiming the fastest lap of the 37 and Kes Audio in 5th position. So we've got ourselves two Nissans and two Hondas in the top 5, with Mickey's rounding up the top 6, and Highlander 787 couldn't make a move on Mickey's in 7th, with Rugworth, the other Lexus driver, in 8th. It's Devlin Calypso in the top 10. So a great start for Devlin. We're picking up those, what I like to call, bags of lollies where people are making mistakes on these last couple of laps. As we get towards the final end, it is Chef Toad, the debutant, who will be racing later on in the evening, will be in 11th, and RoboSport in the final positioning of 12th place. So it is a congratulations to Little Blacko there, leading the way, 12.4 seconds, very comfortable over Xylon 96. As we do see there, Little Blacko confirming his victory, a pole position and a clean race, which is very unusual for a wet race, but nonetheless a clean race for Little Blacko there. So congratulations to Little Blacko, and hopefully he gets to keep that momentum running for these next couple of races. As we run down towards the grid, it is Little Blacko with Xylon 96, a great recovery drive there for Xylon. Just caught himself out a little bit with Ando 787, but Ando 787 as well made some mistakes of his own. So, you know, it just shows that any racetrack that has a wet surface can change orders. And then down in 4th place, a recovery drive for Dishwood after his spin at the end of turn 1, recovered into 4th place. And Kes Audio, who's been very consistent with his running, in 5th place. So this will help him very well with his championship. As running down the rest of the grid, I did believe it was Mickey's 1, 2, 3. So also another great showing for Mickey's with Highlander 215. So a grid line 3rd and 7th. So not bad showing from those guys, because their co-founder Benjo unfortunately disconnected in that final race. So hopefully he might be able to get himself fixed up for race 2 and race 3 coming up very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. And so we get ourselves ready for race 2 at the Trackstars Touring Car Series TS2 Series for round 2 at the Styrian Sprint. It will still be Little Blacko and Cylon 96, so the same unchanged order from between the first 4 drivers. So who will we be looking out for? Jarman, will we be looking out for another race victory for Little Blacko, or can Xylon and Ando make a mark, or even Dishwood?
Yeah, I thought you were going to stop there at Xylon and Ando. So I was going to say Dishwood. I think he's going to be a rough pick for this race.
Could be a rough pick, that's interesting. So we'll have to wait and see as Little Blacko coming up towards those lights. So get themselves ready. Little Blacko and Xylon at the front row. As we said, who will get the jump? As we wait towards those lights. As they come on, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Oh, somebody's made a jump there. There's Ando 787. A little bit unfortunate there, but it's lights out. Oh, has it got a little bit of a contact there and a crash behind there, ladies and gentlemen, as Ando 7 had made the jump and just caused a little bit of a carnage there back there for Dishwood 1. So very unfortunate there for Dishwood 1 after that race start. As we look towards that race start, it is Dishwood 1 who possibly jumped it as well. No, it was just only Ando. So I wonder what happened to Dishwood 1 there. No, he spun it out himself.
Yep, all on his own.
That is unbelievable scenes, ladies and gentlemen, because we got Xylon 96 up in second place with Mick E's now running up into third place. As Little Blacko still leads the way in race 2 of the TS2 Trackstars Touring Car Series with Mick E's and Rugworth up into fourth place. So definitely new names now. We talked about Ando and Dishwood being contenders for the win, but I'm looking down the field, 5th and 8th. Could they possibly come out for a victory? I mean, if Little Blacko or Xylon doesn't make any mistakes, or could we see a new winner in the next 8 laps time?
Yeah.
Oh, I do apologise. I saw Mick E's go out run a bit wide there. He did get a little bit of curving. Yes, he did, and his ears on the gravel there. So very unlucky for Mick E's. We're talking about him getting possibly a good race, getting a good chance on a podium as we look towards replay. Coming out of that exit of that corner. Oh, it's just put a little bit too much curve. He saved it away just from touching the barriers, but just those dirty tyres, Jarman, just drove him off the track.
Yeah, once he got a little bit out of control, and oh no, there he goes again. And who's that behind? It looks like Rugworth's gone off the track as well.
Oh, Rugworth has gone off as well. What is
so
going
after
on,
a good start there for Rugworth, he's fallen back down the order dramatically.
And he's picked himself up some damage as well there. So that is a very interesting concept of what we've got here, of what happened, because we talked about those guys being 3rd and 4th, and now they're down 12th and 13th. This is 11th and 12th, sorry, but that's an interesting one. But what is interesting as well, Xylon's caught up to Little Blacko here, so we might see a move for the lead coming very shortly.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe Xylon's done a little bit of a tune-up between races 1 and 2, and maybe found a little bit of extra time here and there, and could be looking towards pushing for a race win and really challenging Little Blacko here.
Exactly right, and even guys, and now the guys, Ando 787 and District 1 have caught up, gone back into their grid positions, 3rd and 4th. So it was a bit of a blessing in disguise for those guys, because after that shocking start from Ando 787, jumping start, and Dishwood spinning on his own, I don't even know how they did it, because I don't think I could do that.
Luckily, they sort of were right on the tail of that group, even though they made their mistakes, so it sort of gave them a bit of a reprieve in a way that when those 2 or 3 other guys made their mistakes, then they were just able to slot through and maybe make a pass here and there, and all of a sudden they're back up into 3rd and 4th.
Absolutely, and even Xylon, they're getting a little bit of a twitch there. He's trying to close that gap to Little Blacko as he did in that previous race, but as we just know, the calm and consistency of Little Blacko, once he gets into his zone, he's hard to beat.
Yeah, might be looking at the fact that maybe Blacko sort of decided that it might pay off to just sort of go at 9/10ths instead of 10, whereas Xylon, maybe he's taking a bit of a risk here and can smell a bit of a win and is willing to put it all on the line for it.
There. Oh, hang on. I do see Ando 787. What has happened here? Is he just jumped? Has he disconnected from the lobby there?
Yep, it looks like he's disconnected.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is the plague in the Gran Turismo sports. It's just disconnecting people left, right, front and centre. So very unfortunate for Ando 787, who was running up in 3rd place, but that has promoted Dan O up into 4th, or actually, I apologise, Cares Audio up into 4th now with Dan O up in 5th place, and Highlander, the sole driver for Gridline Racing, up into 6th place. So, oof, what is going on tonight, Jarman? It's a bit unbelievable. Hopefully it doesn't happen in the main series.
Nah, hopefully we can stay free of issues, but so far it's not looking promising, is it?
It's going to be a little bit of an interesting one after the first race. Hopefully we get all 14 of our drivers competing tonight. As we said, we get some drivers coming in, like new drivers and debut drivers, reserve drivers, so hopefully they don't get caught out in this. Or maybe it could be a blessing in disguise for them if one of the main series drivers disconnects and they pick up the points.
Yeah, it would certainly be a bonus for them, although maybe they might not be in the championship points, but even then they'll still all be looking to get a good result, maybe impress a few drivers, or drivers, team managers, even the viewers tonight.
Always just picked himself up a half-second track limit penalty there. We'll have to burn that off very soonly. But I think looking up towards the front, no, there's no changes up there. But it looks like this is just the pack, ladies and gentlemen, behind Dano, up in between Dano, Highlander, and Robbo Sport. I wonder if anyone's going to be making moves soon. They're all quite close to each other. They're actually all spread out.
Yeah.
So it might be just a bit of patient waiting, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the beauty of wet racing. You have some great drivers who can master these conditions, like Little Blacko at the moment, or you could be having drivers like Discord One who has a bit of an off, but just slowly makes that recovery. Shane Van Gisbergen style. So we'll have to wait and see come the end of lap 8 who's going to take out the rest of the grid orders. Because I wonder if Ando 787 is going to make his way back into the lobby sooner or later.
Yeah, hopefully we see Ando come back for the final race, and be a shame to see him drop out of the entire event, that's for sure. I'm thinking that maybe race 2 is a bit of a calm before the storm, so to speak, as they sort of settle into a rhythm, and then race 3 maybe they all go for it in the final race and see what they can do.
Yeah, because these wet conditions are surprising drivers very quickly on making their debuts in the TS2 series, so it's going to find it very tricky. And if they haven't practiced enough from that race 1 or practiced during the week, then absolutely they'll be in big trouble, because we saw drivers like Mickey's who probably, whether he did practice or not during the week, he's just having a little bit of an off day because he was running up as high as 3rd and now he's down in 10th.
Yeah, it's certainly not easy to pick up the wet weather racing, and I think a lot of drivers here will be thankful we're only doing it twice out of 22 rounds.
Not wrong there. As you see, that gap I think increasing between Little Blacko and Xylon, but a lot closer for Xylon 96 in this race compared to the last one. So he is finding grips off his Lexus RCF, finding that perfect tune for him to get close to Little Blacko. But it could be the final race that could decide the overall winner, because Xylon and Little Blacko will be definitely going tooth and nail there. But I wouldn't count out Discord One if he gets any more pace in his Honda.
Yeah, I'm sure if Diswood 1 can get a good launch off the line in race 3, then maybe he'll be setting his sights towards picking up that 3rd race as a little bit of a consolation.
And hopefully not spin out at the same time as well, like he did in this race.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's sort of what I meant when I said getting a good start.
Not wrong there. As we get ourselves coming up towards about to commence lap 6. I'm almost about to commence lap 6 of lap 8 for the Track Stars TS2 Touring Car Series. It's still Little Blacko ahead of Cylon 787 with Diswood rounding up the podium. With an unfortunate disconnect for Ando 787, who was running in 3rd position. So if he does come back eventually, I wonder where it's going to have a big ask to come from last to even get a podium, because 3 top quality drivers will be hard to pass through.
Yeah, although judging by his form in the first couple of races, he is showing plenty of speed, so I definitely wouldn't put it past him, that's for sure.
Not wrong there at all. There's KS Audio up into 4th place as well, still in 4th, running very smoothly, but looks like Dano's caught up to him a little bit there. He's just, yes, he has, just a bit over a second there. Between Kez Audio and Dano, just a bit of a debut for these guys as well. Just privateer drivers, so fingers who will be the best of the privateer drivers between those two.
Yeah, although Kez Audio represents Road Sig Racing, and I know that there's 2 or 3 guys that have competed with us through the Porsche Cup last year as well, so that might be a team to watch out for in the future as well.
Get all their caliber drivers together, like I know what you mean, because we definitely saw a few quality drivers come out from Road Sig Racing. Even another guy as well when we racing at the TCR event that Pit Lane Esports host. We do see a Road Sig Racing driver, PJ Max, so I wonder if he might be able to, I wonder if he might be watching the coverage and looking at his team boss thinking, you know what, I could get involved in this.
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea there.
we'll be we'll be scouting out drivers left, right, front, and centre, and hopefully get more new faces in the TS2 series. So just keep watch this space, ladies and gentlemen, as we come up towards lap 7. It is still Little Blacko and Xylon 96. I don't think Little Xylon is closing up to Little Blacko, but it looks like Highlander is up into 6th place. A great showing for Highlander, the sole gridline race driver, with Robbo Sport settling in 7th, and definitely Calypso, our only international driver, in 8th place.
Yeah, the field's looking a bit spread out at the moment, so not too much action to talk about here.
No, unfortunately not. So hopefully in this next last and final race there will be some sort of action, because I think the last race is going to be all for go for broke and put your money on red, and hopefully hope for the best if you come out in first position, because it'll be a lot of pressure on Little Blacko. But we do know, Jarman, that Little Blacko loves the pressure.
Yeah, he does thrive on it a bit, and after those few early mistakes in race 1, he certainly calmed himself down and really put in a faultless performance.
Cars sliding into those corners, just catching that beautiful drift that Highlander just did there was amazing. It's quite cool. Oh, he's still sliding about, and Robbo's doing a bit of a synchronising tail whip between those guys. He's still finding the coming to grips with their cars, even at this late stage of the race. I wonder if there may be, I know the tyre wear's set to 1, but tyre wear, you can feel tyre wear even in the wet conditions sometimes.
Yeah, although judging by the telemetry we've got here, there isn't a lot of tyre wear going on, so maybe it's not too much of a factor, but certainly as you get through a 7-8 lap race, it does start to, even though it's a sprint, it can wear you out a little bit when you're dealing with conditions like these, more on the mental side.
And for the longer races in the main series, you do definitely get to see a little bit of tyre wear kicking in around about those last couple of laps. So we'll be keeping an eye out for some drivers between the Hondas, Lexus and the Nissan drivers in the main series. And basically, you as a Honda driver there, as we pick up on this action for 4th place, and it looks like Dano, I was going to ask you a question, Jarman, about the Hondas, but I do apologise because this coverage is a little bit more exciting than your analysis on Hondas. Kez Audio is leading the way ahead of Dano, but Dano's going to come through and maybe make a move on Kez Audio, maybe towards that second sector, but it looks like he's got a good run out of there, showing the nose on Kez Audio. So unfortunately not going to get there just yet, but as Kez Audio runs a little bit wide there, Dano's going to make a move there, if he gets that traction down on his Nissan GTR. Is he going to get it? No, he doesn't. As Kez Audio keeps that car clean, and coming up towards that last end of the couple of corners there, it'll still Little Blacko's now put 4.5 on Xylon. So we did say earlier in the coverage, once Little Blacko's once he's in his headspace, he's going to charge away and take victory for race 2 at the Trackstars Touring Car Series TS2 Series. It is Little Blacko for Robbo Sport Racing taking victory of race 2, 2 out of 2. Can he make it 3 out of 3? Or will this man, Xylon 96, make a charge? Or even this man, Deucewood 1, claiming a podium position for SLM Motorsport and another fastest lap for him towards the end. So he's getting those fastest lap towards the end, and as we come up towards the battle of 4th, is Dano close enough? No, it's not. So it is Kez Audio in 4th place with Dano in 5th. So congratulations to those guys, getting close, making that action worthwhile to cover there, as Minky's, unfortunately, after his first lap incident, running a little bit wide, being a bit too eager on the throttle there at the back end of the track. Just rounding up the top 8 with Devlin Calypso in 9th and Ruggedworth in 10th, with Chef Toad rounding out the top 11 in the TS2 Trackstars Touring Car Series with Styrian Sprint here at Red Bull Ring. So talking point here, Jarman, can he go 3 out of 3?
I think it's very much possible here. It's definitely going to be going to be a really tough one to beat in that 3rd race, but of course Diswood's showing plenty of pace, and maybe if he nails that start, he can be a chance.
Not wrong though. So this is coming up as we come towards the victory. It is still Little Blacko, 2 out of 2. Congratulations to Little Blacko, another clean race bonus here. I'm still surprised how he's getting clean races, but he's obviously up the front and just doing his own thing, and clean races for him is just making him, just keep that consistency going.
Yeah, that's sort of what you got to aim for in these races.
Well, wrong. And as we take a little break, ladies and gentlemen, we will try to get drivers like Ando787 back on the grid. So stick with us for a couple of minutes before we get ready for the final round, for the final race. Race 3 at the Styrian Sprint in Red Bull Ring, Austria. Can Little Blacko go 3 out of 3, or will Xylon or Diswood make a claim, make a charge for that victory? Time will tell in a couple of minutes' time. So, as we get ourselves ready for the final race, race 3 of the TS2 series, still trying to get drivers to come back in if they can, but doesn't look like we might just have to run with 11 field grid, unfortunately, Jarman, because unfortunately just maybe PlayStation is having a bit of niggling issues for some drivers.
Yeah, I'm guessing that a few drivers such as Ando are just struggling to get back in, or may have just had issues and gone, well, I think I'll have to call it a night.
It's an interesting one, because I believe, like I said earlier, I believe some drivers were talking about having issues with PlayStation, or with at least with the Gran Turismo lobbies. So, as I said, fingers crossed we don't get any issues in our race. But so far, there's no issues for Little Blacko in the TS2. It's taking out a clean sweep. The only driver to take the last driver. Oh, as we get ourselves an late entry there. Oh no, that is Deadpool. I got a little bit too excited there, ladies and gentlemen. This Deadpool, he was a main series driver, so he's not a TS2 driver, so we'll apologise there. But Little Blacko and Cyclone 96 versus Diswood. Who's going to come out into turn 1, Jarman, in the league?
Ooh, this will be maybe, I'm going to say Xylon as a guess here. I reckon he might get the start this time around.
I wonder if you're going to get that same start he had in that first red flag race. Might be able to get it. As we see those lights, great lights out, green flag racing. It is coming through you. It is still, no, it is actually Diswood 1 coming through the field as he's going to make a charge coming towards, oh, he gets a little bit tail happy there. A little bit unfortunate for Diswood, and as Xylon is coming through, there's a little bit of a tag there between Xylon and Diswood, but there's still clean noses and still keeping it clean. Xylon drops down to 3rd with Dano in 4th and Kez Audio to 5th, but it's still once again, Jarman, we're saying this familiar name, Little Blacko leading the race, and once he gets into that zone, he's possibly gonna win the race.
Yeah, it's a very good start there from Little Blacko. Got a launch off the line. Although Diswood, I'd say, was the one that really won that battle of the launches, but he was messed up in that little battle there. But now he's settled himself into second place. Maybe we'll start to see him make a move up the order, as we did see him reel off a few faster slaps in that last race.
Yeah, he was always getting around towards the back end of the race on lap 9 or lap 8. So I wonder if his tyres are not really kicking in like the temperature. Oh, Xylon drifts around that corner there. Tastes it. What a save there for Xylon 96 as he goes drifting around turn 6 and turn 7 there. It's a little bit unfortunate for Xylon because now he's going to just keep his head down in what he thought he could have been a second place. Just got to keep his head down, keep his cool, and hopefully get close to Diswood and hopefully close to Little Blacko as well.
Yeah, if he keeps at it, I'm sure that if he finds a little bit more than what he did in that last race, there's definitely a very good chance.
But one guy that's finding all the pace, Diswood, he's really closing that gap on Little Blacko, so we might be seeing the battle that we wanted to see, ladies and gentlemen. Little Blacko versus Diswood, two top caliber drivers in our series. Both will be racing in the main series later on this evening, at least in an hour's time. So we'll have to, hopefully these guys drive very fast so we can get our main series underway.
Yeah, hopefully, well, probably not so much these guys that we have to rely on the drive fast, but maybe the guys at the back so that we can end the race a little quicker. Oh no!
Blacko's got a little bit wide there. I was talking about keeping his head on the game and being consistent. Little Blacko runs wide. I wonder if we might catch a replay. I wonder if he just obviously outbroke himself there, just getting into the, or maybe he got onto the curbing. I'm not so sure, but it just, that's so unlike Little Blacko. Yeah, it just looks like it just ran a bit wide, just too deep on the brakes, and yep, off she goes.
Yeah, it's very easily done there, and unfortunately for Little Blacko, it's a mistake that's seen him drop out of the lead.
Drops out of the lead, not happy being, he's not in a position where he normally is, but with Silent right behind him, these two are battling between these guys, and it looks like maybe Silent could be making a move on Little Blacko sooner or later, but Silent just maybe runs a little bit wide. No, he doesn't, I thought he did. But it looks like it is still, but now we have a new leader, ladies and gentlemen, finally after so long running with Little Blacko. It is now Diswood 1 for SLM. He'll be racing under CP Motorsport later on in his Honda NSX. So Jarman, this is a very proud moment for you to see a Honda leading a race.
Yeah, it's always good to see one of your own cars in the lead, although maybe you'd sort of like, on a personal level, you'd like to think that maybe it's the driver that does all the work getting up there, but of course Diswood is certainly a class driver, that's for sure.
As we were just praising Little Blacko and Diswood being top caliber drivers, Little Blacko recently just racing his endurance series for Robo Sport Racing, taking a victory in the LMP1 class at Monza last weekend. But obviously, we're talking about his consistency and great performances, but just now that last race, just a little bit of pressure on him. But as he's closing the gap towards Diswood, so he's bringing Xylon 96, so this is definitely the race to keep an eye on, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's certainly a tasty freeway battle coming here for the lead, and Xylon's certainly sticking with these two, and it's very good to see. It gives us a bit more to talk about for sure.
Exactly right, and these two will be hopefully to be doing the same battle. Up the top two will be doing the same battle in the main series, with Xylon 96 getting all the experience he needs in the second division, just to climb and get comfortable with the car and race towards the front as we normally see him in the Formula cars. So it's great. It is a great recovery for Xylon 96 after a struggling debut outing at Dragon Trail Seaside. But as I did say that, he does run a little bit wide there, and he's just lost a bit of pace, lost touch with Little Blacko in second place.
Yeah, sometimes that first round you sort of find your feet a bit, and it's a bit hard to tell the form of the entire series just from one round, and some drivers that struggle in round one sort of find their form in the following races and find themselves back up at the front of the order, as you can attest to in last year's touring car series. And there's others that put in a shock performance in round one and do nothing for the rest of the year, but I can definitely say that Little Blacko isn't in that category either.
Absolutely not. No, he's definitely a top quality driver. I thought we were going to have a Little Blacko victory with Cosmowood, which still could be a possibility, ladies and gentlemen, but I will run through some statistics for you. Last year, the Trackstars Touring Car Series in both divisions, we did see main series driver and reigning champion Antoine P666 claim all three races at the Red Bull Ring Styrian Sprint, as well as in the TS2 series we had Schwaber 83, who was a very fast driver, and he was also in the Honda last year, so getting up some good consistency and running, taking a clean sweep of victory. So I wonder if it's still a possibility for Little Blacko to add his name to the list of clean sweep races, because he's won 4 in a row. Can he win 5?
Yeah, well, he's certainly within touching distance of it, but yeah, he's got about 4 laps to go, and he's really going to have to get a move on if he wants to make sure that he keeps that streak going of the clean sweeps.
Exactly right, and it's, a little bit of a slide there, but like really pushing that Nissan GTR, getting close towards the Honda NSX. These 4-litre powered, 4-litre cylinder 4-cylinder 2-litre turbocharged engines, just pushing that downforce down on the ground on a wet red ring. So 4 laps to go. This Wood 1 leading the way on a fastest lap there. So but no, actually, Little Blacko's gone a little bit faster than him. So it's gamesmanship between those two. As Cylon just steadily dropping away from Little Blacko. But as we maybe look down towards the field, I do see 5th place in up for grabs in Kesordio and Highlander 215, and Mickey's and Devlin Calypso up in 8th place.
Yeah, there's a good battle going on in the midfield there, and also got to give a bit of a shout out to Adam Weller, who's watching along with us at the moment, and just mentioned about our commentator's curse on lap 2 with Little Blacko. It all looks like someone's gone off the track there.
Oh, the Cylon 96 has gone off. What has happened to Cylon 96 there? He was running a very consistent race there. That is very unfortunate for Cylon as we look towards the replay. Did he get himself a little bit too eager? Yes, he did. Oh, that's so heartbreaking for Cylon. Putting in such a solid performance there. He didn't need to risk it, Jarman, but he was in for a solid 3rd position. But now that 3rd position has been taken over by Dano, and as we see cars going on left, right, front and centre off the gravel, and Xylon's down in 4th. So as we catch another replay, yes, Xylon just recovering and Dano catching up. I wonder if Kez Audio outbroke himself. It looks like he has.
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw there, which is why I went back to the replay.
He got a little bit flustered there by Xylon, because he would have
and Mickey's went off the track as well in the process, so maybe a bit of following everyone else through.
Possibly, but what a shame for Xylon. He was running so well and right in contention, but it promotes a new driver onto the podium, Dan 08, the privateer driver, who will be racing. He'll be racing under Shadon Racing Team later on this evening in the number 26, replacing SDRT Wazadon with teammate Chef Ode, who was running down, I believe, in the fringes of the top 10 in this race. So
in
yes,
10th.
In 10th, so perfect analysis there. So Chef Ode and Dano, so 2 TS2 drivers now making their main series debut later on this evening.
That was a bit of a lucky grab there. I just hit a random number and hoped I'd see what Chef Toad was going to be at, and I got right on him.
Perfect. You are the master of the camera. So.
Yeah, I'm not quite too sure about that, but yeah, occasionally we'll jag one.
Oh, hang on! What is this? Little Blacko is up in the lead, and Dishwood's 1 has fallen off. What has happened here? Did we catch a? I want to know if we might be able to catch a replay. It might be a bit too late.
No, we're too late on it.
Could this happen in turn 1 or turn 2, Jarman? I wonder what happened there, because I was talking about your excellent camera skills, but I think commentator's curse, you didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. Maybe should be paying more attention to the racing rather than slapping each other on the back.
Yeah, not wrong there, but it is Little Blacko, so you might be able to keep the streak of complete sweep races at the Red Bull Ring. It is Little Blacko leading away from Diswood ahead of Dano. I wonder if Cylon 96 might be getting close to Dano. Doesn't look like I can see it on the track map there, so not too far away, 5.5 behind Dano. And with 2 laps to go, he's just going to have to consolidate 4th, which is a big shame for Cylon, because he could have been 2nd if Diswood had that mistake.
Yeah, was looking like a 2nd place finish there if Xylon kept it on the track, so really maybe something to lament in the future, of course.
Absolutely. He definitely needs to know who he's racing and how he needs to race, whether he needs to push or whether he needs to just keep a clean nose there. So fingers crossed, you know, fingers crossed. If Dano makes a mistake and gets himself back on the podium, that'd be great. But one driver that's been keeping his nose clean, Devlin Calypso, a solid race for our Belgian international up into 6th place. So keep 2 laps to go, and hopefully he can stay there and put on a great showing for Belgium.
Yeah, it's been a very solid race 3 for him, and while everyone else has been losing their focus and running off track, it's been Devlin that's come through and is looking on for a very strong result here, and hopefully there's no commentator's curse on that one.
Yeah, so we're looking at your comments there, Adam. We do know what you're trying to say. So might have to lodge an entry for TS2 at some point this year, so I wonder about special commentator Adam Well could be making the guest appearance. Time will tell though, maybe he's just playing with their heads. You never know.
Who knows, maybe that could be a bit of a role reversal there. The commentators racing while 2 of the main series races are commentating.
Exactly right. We'll be keeping those eyes on him all race long. Hopefully he doesn't make a mistake. But one guy hasn't made a mistake, except that mistake that he made at turn 2. Little Blacko is redeeming himself into the final lap. We go. Little Blacko leading the way from Discwood 1 with Dano right behind. I do see Xylon 96 closing up onto Dano, but it's just too little too late. With Highlander up in the top 5, so great showing for Highlander, the sole gridline racing driver after Nando's disconnection there. So a great showing for Highlander, putting a great performance for Highlander, and yeah, just keeping himself clean nose and all. And I think he's got a good gap between him and Devlin. So up into 6 with Mickey's and Kezordia. Looks like the closest battle between those 2 guys. But Little Blacko now is 5.6 ahead of Diswood. So I'm going to call it now. Hopefully it's not a commentator's curse, but I'm calling it 3 out of 3 for Little Blacko, keeping the streak alive.
Yeah, it looks like Diswood's sort of thrown in the towel there a bit.
Yep, just drifting off the way, unfortunately, but it is going to be Little Blacko rounding up those couple of corners.
Oh, that scared me.
That scared me too. I just saw that. I caught the back end. I was like, hang on, you're going to win this race. Don't be too eager. But as we keep an eye on Little Blacko crossing the line, I do see Dano and Xylon getting closer to Xylon, to Dano there. So keep an eye on that, ladies and gentlemen, as we can see Little Blacko. Congratulations for Robo Sport Racing, 3 out of 3 for the Styrian Grand Prix, for the Styrian Sprint here at Red Bull Ring for the TS2 Track Stars Touring Car Series, with Dano rounding up a solid and a perfect 3rd position for his 2nd race on debut as the privateer driver. Congratulations, Dano, for claiming 3rd place with Xylon 96. A very unfortunate for Xylon 96. It could have been 2nd place, but he'll have to settle 4th with Highlander 215 claiming up the top 5 with Devlin Calypso. A great showing and a clean nose for Devlin up into 6th place.
As we see Mickey's crossing the line in 7th place with Kez Audio just behind, and Robo Sport in 9th with Rugworth rounding out the top 10. And then our last of our finishers will be Chef Toad.
Chef Toad rounding out the final positions, but it is 3 out of 3 and 5 out of 5 actually, so 5 wins on the trot in TS2. Can anybody stop this man for Robo Sport Racing, Little Blacko? He'll be jumping into the main series very soon, but he has taken out 5 victories in a row. So I'm just wondering, are we going to call the championship now and give it to Little Blacko, or are we going to actually give somebody else a chance?
I think we might have to give someone else a chance too.
Yeah,
we never know what will happen. There could be a challenger emerge from nowhere, as
absolutely
can often be the case.
And it is the early stage. It's only 5 races and we're only in the 2nd round of 22, so we want to keep our heads cool as well. We don't want to get too excited. But as we look towards the grid, it is Little Blacko, clean sweep for RoboSport. Congratulations, Little Blacko for RoboSport Racing, with Diswood, who was earlier leading the race. Unfortunately for him, just caught himself out maybe at turn 1 or turn 2 there. And 2nd place. And Dano, a very solid performance from Dano for the privateer, and he'll be making Wazadon and Wysaker proud with that podium position. So congratulations to him as a privateer driver in TS2.
Yeah, very good effort from them, and I think at this stage, Adam is waiting for us to vacate the commentary box so he can take his usual position and we go racing.
Not wrong there. So as we sign off, ladies and gentlemen, it is a clean sweep for Little Blacko for Robo Sport Racing, 3 out of 3 at the Styrian Sprint and 5 out of 5 for the series. So can anybody challenge Little Blacko in the next round coming up in 2 weeks' time, I believe? Is that right? 2 weeks?
Yes, it'll be 2 weeks' time. I believe it might be at Fuji Speedway.
Fuji Speedway. So this will be a great. So this will be Toyota's home
Actually,
track,
no, it's
so
at Autopolis.
Oh, topless. Okay, this will be an interesting, a new track for Trackstars. So fingers crossed, he might be able to get another clean sweep, or will it be somebody else? But time will tell. As we wrap up between Jarman, Dallas, and myself, we wish you guys a farewell. Stay tuned for the main series division as we kick off our main series, Trackstars Touring Car Series, sponsored by Elite Brake and Mechanical. Until then, stick around, and from myself.